Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Hi,
Hello.
Elliot. Welcome back to Stormalong 2020. It's so good to see all of you guys and your words in this chat stream. So who struggled to keep up with the pace in this section? Because I found it a little bit difficult. It wasn't as compelling for me, although we did learn a lot. So yes, yeah, Victoria. Okay, cool. I'm not the only one.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna, Ryan did too?
Yep.
Yep, okay. I'm just going to get a few announcements out of the way while we hear from you guys. So obviously this is Stormlight 2020. We're preparing for the release of Rhythm of War, the fourth book in Brandon Sanderson's Stormlight Archives series. This is the second of 4 live streams for Oathbringer. So we're getting near the end of Stormalong. This particular live stream is for chapters 30 through 60. It was originally supposed to be 61, but I messed up on the thumbnail. So if you read to 61, that's cool. If you read to 60, that's cool. We're going to have some questions tonight, followed by an open mic time where you can talk about whatever you want. And if you enjoy this video, please do give it a thumbs up over in the corner and subscribe to all of our channels. We talk about Stormlight Archives and other fantasy and science fiction and other kinds of books as well. And do you guys want to introduce yourself, starting with Where's Adolin?
Sure. My name is Ryan. I'm from the channel Seeking Stories. My wife, Kristen, often joins us, but she is both busy planning a Halloween party and is about 500 pages behind, but she is confident she will catch up for next live stream. We unlock the secrets of books and movies.
Ryan does a great job on his channel talking about screenwriting and all elements of movie making, and he has made some really cool videos on Stormlight Archives being made into a movie. So check out his channel. It's linked down below. He has his own Stormlight playlist because he has a lot of Stormlight content, like a lot of reactions, a lot of analysis. So definitely check that out. You want to go next, Victoria?
Sure. I'm Victoria. My channel is A Musical Bookworm, and I have just been having a great time reading Stormlight Archives for the first time, and excited to see what you guys thought about this next chunk.
Excuse me. Me too. This is great entertainment. I had to have a meal with it. Victoria does wonderful musical videos on her channel for Stormlight Archives and other kinds of Stormlight Archives videos. She did the Radiant test with her and her husband, and there's been a few others that I just put them all on the Stormlight 2020 official playlist, which is linked down below, along with her music videos. She made some original compositions about some of the Radiants with their Spren, the main Radiants from the last 2 books. So I highly recommend checking it out. Her music is beautiful.
Aw, thanks, Christy. I'm hoping to make one for Dalinar, but I'm still working on
Dalinar and Stormfather.
Yeah.
Yes. This must happen.
We'll see.
Will there be electric guitar in that version?
Maybe.
Yes.
That would be amazing. Okay, Michael, you want to go next?
Sure. I'm Michael from Michael Nip, and I'm also a booktuber just out here. I'm so hyped for Rhythm of War right now. Dawn Shard's around the corner. Plus this Oathbringer stuff is happening. Yeah, I'm excited. I'm containing myself.
Yeah, I think we're all pretty hyped for Rhythm of War because it's so close. We're almost there. And we understand if everybody wants to read ahead. Yes, the hype is real. All right. Well, I think that's all the announcements. Oh, Michael has his own, Michael has his own playlist as well that's linked down below. He's done a lot of videos as well. He's done some videos on the prologues, the multiple prologues of the Way of Kings. And he did a really interesting video on Vorinism and the Catholic Church. And also he's reviewed all 3 of the novels that are out now. And he always is doing cool fantasy stuff. So definitely check out his channel. And I think that's about it.
Oh, can I? Sunday we're going to do a read.
Yes.
So if you guys are free on Sunday, we will do a live reading sprint for Oathbringer, and we have both Christy and Jade from Bedtime Bookworm, and we're all gonna just hang out and read. So Sunday, 3 o'clock Pacific time, 6 o'clock Eastern time. Yeah. Yes.
So Victoria's channel actually is linked down below, and I think I actually linked the read-in as well down below. So thank you for remembering that.
I almost forgot.
I had it right at the top of my notes, but whatever. Okay. Yes, it is going to be so fun. I'm so glad you're going to be with us, Jade. Okay, why don't we start with a question, but you guys can talk about whatever you want. We really just want to hear from you guys. So these are all to inspire discussion. And we actually have questions from our co-hosts here today. So I'm excited about those. So here's the first one. Has your opinion of Dalinar changed after learning more about his background? Is he capable of uniting the lands? People seem to distrust him. So thoughts on that?
I think this is going to be a controversial one. I think in the community at large, it can be controversial. I think it was Leslie who was talking about it recently on Discord. It's like Dalinar is a favorite character up to this point, but the more we see his past, the more it hurts to say that because it's rough.
My opinion really hasn't changed too much, just because in Way of Kings and Words of Radiance, but specifically in Way of Kings, like we got the idea that he did some bad stuff, to put it lightly, in his past. And I know that we still have half the book, but I'm almost, I don't want to put it like so harsh, but I'm almost disappointed in his flashbacks because I feel like I'm seeing, at least for me, like exactly what I expected to see. And there really hasn't been any like shocker moments yet. And I think the way that Sanderson always manipulates stories and has things coming from directions that you don't really expect. I haven't really seen anything that wasn't like shocking plot-wise. Like shocking character-wise, yes, but nothing shocking plot-wise. I'm really hoping that the second half of the book, his flashbacks will kind of bring to light some new things that maybe were deeply foreshadowed that we might not have anticipated.
That's true, Ryan. I feel like we haven't gotten very many flashbacks yet. They've seemed to be a little more sparse. Whereas Way of Kings, I felt like we constantly had Kaladin flashbacks. In Oathbringer, not so much. They've been more few and far between. And you're right, we know these things about Dalinar from hints from other past books, but now we're just getting details of exact events and scenarios where we're seeing him act in the way we've kind of been hinted at. So
right.
I still like Dalinar. It doesn't change my opinion about him, but it's been interesting to see what the other characters like how they respond to him as he's trying to help, and then to have them go, well, wait, you're Dalinar though, you're the Blackthorn. Why should I trust you? So that has been an interesting element to me in Oathbringer.
I think it actually makes me like Dalinar more, like the present day Dalinar, because you can see that he's really trying to kind of make amends for his past life and really take his life in a different route. So it kind of makes him more admirable as a character at this point. But I want to see those like interpersonal like relationships from the flashback, or from the flashbacks. Like I want to see him interact with Sadeas and with his wife and with his brother and like all these characters that we know he had deep relationships with. And I feel like we're just getting like touches of it. Like I'm done with seeing Dalinar on the battlefield. Like I want to see the character interactions.
He is going through so much character change, so the interactions will be fun. Were you going to say something, Michael?
No, I was laughing at both your reaction and also to the next chapter's comments reaction of just getting tired of battle after battle after battle.
Yes.
I can see that.
Yes. I don't see that one. Dang.
It may have been a second ago. My brain works in weird ways.
The chat stream works in weird ways. I'm sure it's not you.
But yeah, I like Rich's point that you had up there about him being the ideal Alethi, because obviously in The Way of Kings especially, we see him standing in stark contrast to every single Alethi ideal, and everyone thinks that he's insane, especially Sadeas. And so when you go to the past and you realize, well, I think I mentioned it last stream, this is when you realize that Sadeas was friends with him for a reason. He was like this. Sadeas liked it. Other people liked it. He got a lot of things done in Alethi society. That's why when he's doing what we think is honorable in The Way of Kings, we're like, why do these people hate him so much?
Mm-hmm.
And it's because he used to be a different person, it seems like.
He's going against their culture.
Mm-hmm.
Even the second, I mean, it's like, I know what happens at the end of this book, very generally. I don't remember very well, but I remember certain things. But as we're going along, I'm getting more worried about Dalinar being faced with Odium was like, "You're gonna release me," and now I'm like, "Is he gonna release him?" We have 7 more books. Like, anything could happen. I'm getting, it's making me feel like worried. It's like we've seen crazy switches before in Sanderson characters.
Mm-hmm.
Whoa, that was fast.
That was quick.
Oh, yeah.
He beat me. He freaking beat me.
I can't wait to see that.
Yes, I can't wait too. That's gonna be great. Reading this book in 2022. You guys can do it in 2021. I have confidence. If you can do all Faulkner in 2020, you can do all Sanderson in 2021.
The Cosmere Long on the Codex Cantina. All right, I'm going to put a new question up, but you guys can keep discussing Dalinar if you'd like. All right. #Moash. I know that this is a controversial character. What do you guys think about him and his character development?
I'm rooting for him. I'm rooting for Moash personally, and I want him. I see the potential in him, and I want him to come to the light side. Don't join the dark side. I'm rooting for him. Yeah, Leslie agrees. I believe in second chances. Yes.
His interpersonal struggles are so interesting, going from, everything he's gone through. He wants to be, he wants a people, and I feel like that's kind of at the crux of who he is, especially after his family was killed. He's trying to belong in some way, and he's doing what he can to have some semblance of that, even if it means joining the quote enemy. But I feel like even they're starting to let him down. So I feel like at some point he's going to have to come to terms with the fact that the world just, and he already starting to, but the world just isn't how the way he wants it to be. If I had to predict something, I can see him giving his life for Kaladin or someone like that, just as a way to kind of finally do something honorable. I feel like he's kind of like the character foil in a way. Maybe that's the right term, but a Kaladin. He's almost like a smaller version of him. We see the things that Kaladin struggles with through a different character.
That's a good point. Oh, Raj does not like Moash.
Who doesn't?
Ramsey.
I can see that.
In my Discord, I think it was this last week, Jen Kavox, who's also in the chat, actually did that breakdown that you were just talking about and did a ton of comparisons between Kaladin and Moash and how they're kind of anti-types to each other. It was really, really interesting the way that he took way more than I even realized, because I think there's some obvious comparisons. But yeah, I think that's a good thing that you brought up there.
Did you say that was a video? Or
No, he was just posting about it in the Stormlong Discord section.
Oh, nice.
Sorry, go ahead.
It almost reminds me of who's the character, Dr. Faustus, I think. It's like that old literature book, and there's like the main character, and then there's like the other character who's almost like a version of him. I forget. It's been like 10 years since I've read the book.
Me too.
But there's like a character who's like a representation of Faustus, that you kind of see a version of what Faustus goes through, but makes different choices. They're kind of like reflections of each other, but like not perfect reflections. And that's what I've been thinking as I've been reading through Moash's section.
So, I remember kind of being really surprised after the ending of Words of Radiance when suddenly we started getting Moash points of views in Oathbringer. I was like, oh, I thought that guy was like done, like
Yeah.
I thought he was gone. As Kaladin says, he's no longer a part of our fellowship. But then we start getting his point of view, and this time around at least I feel I'm actually like really enjoying his perspective, and I know that not everybody does. I've been listening to some people talking about it. The Overlady Reads on the 17th Shard. I love listening to her reactions, but I completely disagree with her about Moash and her husband. They both are like, these sections about Moash are so boring, and I'm like, oh, but he is dealing with the weighty moral issue of this book, of really the whole series so far, which is who deserves this land, So I'm really enjoying that. I think right now he's going through some hurdles with his own taking responsibility, but I like him. I'm looking forward to his development. I think that was a great question, Victoria.
Yes, absolutely.
I also enjoy his perspective. I agree. I wasn't a Moash fan before Oathbringer, and I was in the same camp. I was surprised to see him back because he seemed just like a side character that was finished. But I've enjoyed what Sanderson has done with him so far.
It's interesting because each of the books kind of increases the spectrum of, or maybe the focus of the moral issues the characters are seeing, like on an increasingly larger global scale. It's like the first book, it really dealt with the problem of really light eyes versus dark eyes. And now it's, different cultures and races across the world. And I think it was a brilliant thing that Sanderson did by starting it out very focused and slowly broadening it. Because I feel like he had started with the broad, it would have been just too much. We would have been on overload. But I feel like we buy these moral struggles more because we had the more particular ones to start with 2,000 pages ago.
Definitely.
I never thought I would hear Ryan defending the length of these books. I'm so happy.
That's the one and only time.
Just like Moash, he's on his own journey.
Right.
Yeah, I agree though. The Moash sections, I don't find them boring at all. I think that Moash as a character is a struggle sometimes to read for the same reason that Kaladin, especially in the beginning, was really a struggle to read. But yeah, also Jade mentions it. I love being with the Parshendi. Some people don't, and I kind of don't agree with that at all. I think the Parshendi are super fascinating. I would rather learn way more about the Parshendi than the freaking Alethi in Rhythm of War, and like I'm all about spending all the time with them.
Me too.
I agree.
I think I would agree. Well, don't we get Eshonai and her sister's flashback in book 4, right?
Mm-hmm.
So your wish is about to be granted, Michael.
I'm excited.
Is anyone else curious about the spren that come out of the sister Eshonai and Venli? Yeah, and then Venli's once mate when he dies?
Oh yeah.
Like there's just some little spren, and I think she captures it. It sounds like she grabs it before the fuse to see it.
Oh yeah.
I'm super curious about that. I just read it today. That's why I remember. I'm sure I would have probably forgotten like tomorrow, but
like every time you think you know about all the spren, Sanderson throws some more at you.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
They're still very mysterious, and also I think because Shadesmar is really mysterious, I feel like I still don't know anything about Shadesmar, and therefore don't know anything about Spren.
Yes, we got this like massive tease of Shadesmar like right at the beginning of Words of Radiance and right at the end of Way of Kings, and now we just have like hints of it again. It's kind of infuriating.
Oh my gosh, Odium for president. That's hilarious.
Yes. Yeah. I was gonna say this is interesting because Odium, I don't know, we're so like built up to be afraid of him that it makes me a little bit suspicious. Like his passion, I know he's done bad things and it seems like the people that he inspires do bad things, but he's passion. That's not necessarily evil. There's good and bad things about passion. So I'm curious about this guy.
It will be interesting.
So do you think Odium could be good?
I don't think the shards are good or bad.
Yeah. Okay.
I think they are complicated. They're kind of not moral. They're like a force. They're like the Stormfather.
It's weird. The shards reminded me a little bit, it's me really weird, of Gollum in that line in Lord of the Rings that says he loves and hates the ring like he loves and hates himself. I feel like that's like the shards. They have like all these things playing at once, and they can be for you and against you the same way, and they're just too complicated to figure out.
They're tricksy. The spren of the dead. Like maybe your soul turns into a spren, at least for the Prashani. I was thinking something like that too. I was like, it's like their death creates a spren, like soul spren or something.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a great theory, Jade.
Well, because we always have everyone talking about, dying and going to the Tranquiline Halls to, fight and all that. So you have to wonder, what's actually going on there? Like, obviously, it's not what we expect and what the mortals of the world expect. So, I mean, that's fascinating. What if you do die and become a spren, and then you kind of really are fighting, just in a really weird way? Sanderson Silmarillion only about spread.
Great.
It's gotta happen. Yeah, right? Because like others don't.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good question.
Yeah.
There's probably some sciencey theory behind it, Angela.
Next video.
Next video.
I wonder if it has something to do, talking about Angela's question, something to do with the fact that there are like 3 shards on this planet. And I think Ramsey would know for sure, but this is the only planet with 3, right?
The only one that we know of, yes.
Yes, the only one we know of.
There's still a bunch of shards that we kind of don't know about.
Right.
That's a really interesting comparison. I feel like Ruin is...
Don't say too much about Ruin. I'm still working on it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same here.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's an interesting comparison.
But yeah, I was actually, in my head, I had them compared to Zeth. Yeah, I was thinking that too, for the record. But yeah, we can't talk too much about it.
We don't want to be spoilery for other
Sorry.
series. Yeah. Sanderson likes his opposites.
Yeah.
Never apologize. We're so glad for your comments.
Yeah, absolutely. It's our fault for not finishing Mistborn, the Mistborn series.
Faster.
Okay, let's put... Oh, what? Sorry.
Oh, Ramsey said Ruin is his own thing.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, let me have the screen. Yeah.
I think they are separate. But man, there's a question that... Oh, here it is. She's talking about some of the epigraphs are harmony. And I was like really excited when I discovered that today. I did not know that.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Not at all.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
I've been very confused about the epigraphs.
Yeah.
At what
No,
time?
that makes sense.
Huh.
I think
No,
a lot of them. I know
Right.
you definitely are in past books.
Yeah.
Yeah. All I know is like the more recent epigraphs that start in part 3 are from the drawers that they find in that wall, right? And they're all
That
drawers.
was my assumption.
So I know what those were. But yeah, the ones before that I was confused.
I still think the ones from the first part are Dalinar writing some sort of autobiography letter thing at the end of the book when he's ousted, hypothetically. Just a prediction.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Sorry, Nip. It's really funny when everybody calls you Nip.
People call me Nip in real life all the time.
Really?
Yeah. There's too many mics around.
What? They don't call you Radiant Skin Therapy?
No, that's just my cause.
Oh. Right? This is making me want to reread Mistborn so in fact I actually am. I'm rereading the third one, but
yeah, didn't you say you're buddy reading with me, but
yes.
You're not?
I am, but I'm going like 10,000 times more slowly than you are. Also, you're now like going hyperspeed, whereas you weren't really before. So
it's true.
Yeah,
I'm just like all caught up before our OW.
Yes.
I need to figure out if I'm going to need to reread Mistborn before finishing the first trilogy, because I read Mistborn without really having much of an intention to go on to the other Cosmere books like anytime soon, so I wasn't really paying attention to like what could be a big connection to something. I just read it for the story, but now I feel like I need to go back and like read it again before reading the other books.
I don't think you need to. I think from what I've been told from other people, I think that you would gain more from just reading the rest of the series and then reading the first book again after, and you see all the foreshadowing.
Fair enough. That saves me time.
Yeah.
Especially because I really want to get Mistborn 2 and 3 in before Rhythm of War, and I don't know if that's going to happen.
Oh, that's going to be tight.
I know. My goal is to finish Warbreaker this weekend.
I haven't read Warbreaker yet.
Warbreaker is interesting.
Oh man, Secret History is crazy. Yeah, this will help understanding a lot of the stars. So when Jade said that about not understanding about shards and stuff like that, I was like, that's exactly how I feel about this series that we're currently reading. Like, I'm just learning about all of these crazy theories that people have, and I'm like, oh, I like following Kaladin around. It's fun.
Well, Anderson wrote it so that you don't have to understand all the details of the shards. So that's totally valid, Christy. Like if you just want to read it for Kaladin, like that's totally valid. I know. He did write it for the enjoyment of everyone, even if you hadn't read the rest of the Cosmere.
Very, very true.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, same here. Mm-hmm. You can just read it for the main plot line if you want, and it's really good. That's totally what I was doing when I first read Mistborn, because I wasn't even into high fantasy. I only read young adult fantasy, but just following the main plot line was so mind-blowing that now I'm interested in sort of the sidey type.
And that's
plots.
what I wish that more writers, filmmakers did, was have, you know, your expanded universe, connected universe, whatever, and have the stories really enjoyable by themselves without having to know everything about every other story to enjoy the whole thing. I feel like Marvel, I don't know if they still do, but they did that fairly well for a while. But some other ones, not so much.
Mm-hmm. So I know there's people talking about Secret History. I was told you need to read Secret History after Era 2, so I haven't read it yet. Is that correct?
I think Angela said Bands of Mourning, which I don't think that's... I think, is that the first one in Era 2? I don't know.
That sounds right.
Really? Wow.
It's in Era 2 somewhere.
Man, I read it before I read Era 2, so I don't know. Maybe I missed some stuff. This is what rereads are for.
Oh, see, there's Rich again.
What do you say? This one?
Yeah, he's saying that you should probably read it after Era 2, basically.
Okay.
Angela said Bands of Mourning is the third book, so that's all of the current
Okay.
Era 2 that's out.
Yeah.
Okay. Got it.
Cool.
Okay.
Sometimes what
Maybe I
people
know-
consider a Cosmere spoiler, though, I don't consider a spoiler. It just depends, because technically, like this book is like a Cosmere spoiler for Warbreaker in a way that is more Easter eggy than required.
Yeah, I know I probably missed a lot because I haven't read Warbreaker. I think I'm the only one of the three of you that have not read Warbreaker.
I think it's awesome. I also don't think you're actually missing that much. I think you're missing that's cool. I wonder how that works, and that's all.
Okay.
I think I'm like 60% through Warbreaker right now, Victoria, and I think there's only been one thing that I've connected between the two series so far, and maybe it's just me totally kind of glossing over it and missing it, or it comes later, but it hasn't seemed super connecty yet. But I mean, we all know that the Sanderlanche hasn't happened for either book yet, so.
Mm-hmm. Well, and speaking of connections, I read Edge Dancer right before Oathbringer. I know a lot of you guys did. And that was really fun to see some things kind of cross over and to have the appearance of Lift and then have her tell Dalinar about what she thinks of his butt.
Okay,
love that.
so speaking of Lift, can I throw something out there real quick?
Do it.
Because I keep thinking about how to adapt this into a movie. I know I haven't even done the Words of Radiance video yet, but I feel like two things. Oathbringer is going to be one of the easier ones to adapt because you have to cut stuff out. It's just so stinking slow. Like you can consolidate conversations and all that to make it go smoother. But I like to play with how movies open. And I know I'm going to like get some pretty hate comments at this point, but I don't like the idea of opening every single potential movie with like the prologue from a different perspective. Is just too much, I think. So how like fun could it be potentially to open Oathbringer with Lift and Lift's big flashback from Words of Radiance? Because it doesn't fit into the Words of Radiance story at all. But doing that whole section, it's almost like Gollum in Return of the King. Like you just have this crazy flashback out of nowhere that relates to the story, starting Oathbringer with just this crazy Lift flashback because you've just found out about Radiance and Words of Radiance, like other people getting the powers. It's like, and all of a sudden you got this girl, or this supposed girl, getting her powers and having her crazy spread. I feel like that would just set such a fun tone before going into just the politics of 600 pages.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see that.
I support that idea.
Yeah.
I think that's a cool idea. I also think that because there's so much stuff that you could cut, this almost could be like you made a comparison to Marvel earlier. I think some of the stuff that you could cut could easily be like a standalone film that kind of ties back in. Like I think you could probably take a lot of the Zeth sections from Way of Kings and Words of Radiance and do a separate Zeth movie, and then have Stormlight be your Avengers, where Zeth shows up and you're like, oh, it's that freaking dude from the other movie. I think you could probably do that with Lift as well, where she could have her own standalone, and then, maybe, like you mentioned, the beginning of Oathbringer, if she has had her own standalone, you could have the beginning of Oathbringer just be like Lift walking on scene. You'd be like, oh, she's in this.
Yeah. And maybe it's a blessing in disguise that we haven't seen any adaptations of any Cosmere books into movies or TV yet. I feel like that's like a curse, but at the same time, it's a blessing too, because whenever it's done, whatever film entity makes it has that, hindsight to go back and say, okay, well, we know we need this for book 7 of Stormlight Archives. Let's start playing with it here to really start foreshadowing those things. Or, like you said, Michael, doing a movie, or even like Disney Plus is doing some standalone short TV series.
Sure.
So. But yes, I support your idea, Michael. Same.
I think instead of steak emojis, we should switch to peach emojis for Dalinar's butt.
Okay, I'm gonna put up another. What?
I would just respond to Rita Reborn. Sold on Stormlight movies.
Ryan knows what he's talking about.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Really.
Not to be pressured, but that Words of Radiance, Words of Radiance adaptation video, I'm still waiting on that one.
I know. Hopefully in November.
All right, I'm going to put up another question, and you guys can keep talking about whatever you want. This question is from Michael. The previous ones were all from Victoria, I think, all of them.
Mhm.
So thank you so much, Victoria, and we have more from her coming up. And this one is from Michael. I think it's a fantastic question. Now that we know that Fabrials are captured Spren who are forced to perform a task for the people, but we know that Spren are capable of a form of sentience when bound with a human. So is it still cool to like capture Spren and force them to work for you? What do you guys think?
Well, here's a thought. If this was the real world, Spren to most people would seem as like, barely sentient objects, or not even really, just kind of forces of the world and all that. So if this was our world, pretend that Spren were like chickens. And if all of a sudden a chicken started developing like a good relationship with a human, that would be super weird. We'd evaluate the whole like idea of, keeping chickens and eating their eggs and all that. So I'm wondering, I'm just trying to look at it from the perspective of their world. Like if they, if most people in the world have no idea that Spren are like sentient really, I guess most people wouldn't see, outside of the Radiants and those like Dalinar who understand things like that, Yasna, the most people in the world wouldn't see anything wrong with it just because they don't know. Not saying that makes it right or wrong, but I feel like that would definitely kind of be like a culture shock. It'd be like, oh wait, some of these can become kind of sentient and bond with people, but most of them aren't. So what's with that? It would be another one of Sanderson's huge like moral debates in a way. And I'm wondering if that's something that'll come down the road. So sorry, kind of a rambly kind of thought, but just trying to think of it from the perspective of the people who have no idea that these things can be sentient at all.
Absolutely, that's a great thought.
There's a lot of talk in the chat about it. It's like, we know that some Spren become sentient when they bind, like Syl and Kaladin, and the more time she spent with Kaladin, the more sentient she became. But like, that doesn't seem to be the case for the majority of the Spren. So like a flame Spren, and I think that we've had the questions, we've had interludes and people considering this, like, are the flame Spren drawn to the fire? Are the flame Spren fire? Like, why are there different, are they the elements, or are they attracted to the elements? Do they feed off the elements? Do they encourage the elements? How do they work? Because they use fire. Fire makes the fire Spren, but they use heating Fabrials where they gather a fire Spren and then make it heat the room for them. Like, how much of it is a force of nature? How much of it is a personality? If they're not sentient, is it a problem? Clearly, if somebody took freaking Wendell and put him in a bottle and made him be a slave, that wouldn't be cool because we know Wendell and Syl and Stormfather. But when it's just kind of dumb, is it more like an animal? Is it like a chicken? Chicken's a weird one because there's actually chickens in this world. But like, is it a problem if they're just these forces of nature? If you gather the wind and make a fan Fabrial or something, I don't know.
Well, and Peter brought up a good point in the chat. It says, why are there not dirt Spren or wall Spren? Like, does it have to be something that is capable of some sort of, like you said, Michael, force or movement?
Well, there was a stick
Rich
Spren. Which one? There are Spren. Yes, he has the quote. Yeah, somebody mentioned that earlier. Was it Jade? I forget.
I think so.
It might have been Jade.
I mean,
yes. Here it is. What?
Thinking of slavery and like enslaving Spren, hasn't Dalinar enslaved a Spren kind of?
He kind of did force a Stormfather
to force him to bond with him, right? I don't know.
There's a difference between keeping something bottled up in a little tiny thing and even chickens who, I mean, I know not everybody treats their chickens well, but the chickens that I eat eggs from personally have a nice big coop. I know because I've taken their eggs out of the coop before and fed them and watered them. And they seem totally fine with it. I mean, I guess I wouldn't know if they weren't, but it's like a fine life. They get fed. They can walk around. I don't know. It feels different than putting it in. I picture Fabrials as like almost like you holding a magic wand and there's this little like bulb and the Spren's in the bulb. And That is no life for anything, in my opinion.
Well, and Leslie made the comparison to the Parshmen, which someone bad could probably make the argument and say, well, the Parshmen they just did what they were told. They seemed fine too. But like the Parshmen clearly seem to be on a different level than a Spren. Now we especially now that we know that. But I think it is an interesting topic of conversation regardless. They're Pokemon.
Sure.
They kind of are. They're kind of not. I feel like keeping Pokemon as pets is way worse than keeping a Spren as a pet.
Because you make them fight.
Well, you make them fight and they die, and you just resurrect them and do it again. It's pretty messed up.
That sounds like the Heralds.
Oh no!
And you squeeze them in a little ball.
Yeah, that's true. They do squeeze in a little ball.
Oh, I love that quote of Zeth's. The motions of Inside Out. Yes, yes.
And they kind of are. I mean, because a lot of them are emotion based. Like they have the little streamers or whatever for, what is it? Is it not excitement? Glory Spren.
Yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm. Rich mentioned a while back that this will be an interesting conversation after part 4. So, wondering what's coming up.
What is the lolling about? Do we know? Because of Pokemon? I'm feeling like I missed something.
I think it was potentially that they faint comment.
Oh, okay.
Because that's what the Pokemon supposedly faint when they beat each other up until they die, and then they resurrect them, basically.
Right.
That makes sense.
There's Angela reminding me, as always, a weekly reminder to read Emperor's Soul, which I have not done.
That's not Sanderson, is it?
It is. It
is. Okay.
I want to say it's an Elantris short story.
Yeah.
Oh, is it in the Arcanum Unbounded?
Yeah.
I think they all are.
Nice.
Emperor's Soul is really good, but I think it's intended to read after Elantris. So if you have to read Elantris, you read that first.
Yeah, I haven't read Elantris yet. That's the other book I need to get done before Rhythm of War. That's not happening. My plan with Rhythm of War, because Michael's going to read it so quick, is I'm going to wait for Michael to finish it, and I'm going to ask Michael, okay, what books from the Cosmere should I have read beforehand? And then I'm going to quickly read those really fast, and then read Rhythm of War over Christmas break.
Is the I Am a Stick a Spren or something else?
Wasn't that a...
Oh, that's a good question.
That's a good question.
I
was thinking it was Spren, but now I don't know.
Because that was a whole thing where Shallan was trying to delve into Shadesmar, right? And everything in Shadesmar has a connection to this world.
Yeah, it's just trying to still cast a stick.
Right. So when we've been in Shadesmar, I think we've learned that every object has a soul, and that's the whole soul casting thing, right? So I don't know if it was a Spren necessarily saying I am a stick, but every object has like an essence or a soul. So I think what that was all about.
So there's no stick Spren, and that's just soul Spren. Or
I mean, there might be, but I feel like we've only seen Spren really with emotions or elements. Like we've seen emotions Spren and like fire Spren, and whenever there's like an action done, I don't know how much we've seen like a inanimate object Spren.
Right. Yeah, I'm trying to think back to all the Spren we've seen, and there's too many of them.
Yeah.
Right. They always do seem to be like, well, I guess the weirdest one is like Rot Spren.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, assuming that medicine and bodies work the same in this world as they do on Earth, we know where rot comes from, and that's from living organisms. So that makes sense, even though it seems less animate than wind. It's not a stick.
Mm-hmm. It's still elemental in a way.
Right.
We've got a challenge going on in the chat. Hey, Michael, that's applicable to you too.
What is it?
You can't binge The Emperor's Soul in the last 2 days of
Well,
October.
Emperor's Soul I probably could, because I think that's a short story.
Yes.
Yeah, you could.
Is that what I said? I may have said
I
something.
thought they were debating about Elantris.
Oh, well, I wouldn't read that in 2 days.
I
Yeah.
wouldn't listen, I liked Elantris, so I would not recommend reading it in 2 days.
It's more of a take your time and chill with it.
Yeah.
hmm
But Ryan's off the hook for reading Emperor's Soul right now because he's reading Warbreaker already.
Yay. Not that I don't want to read Emperor's Soul, but Warbreaker is getting interesting.
Oh,
Christy,
my
I forgot.
word.
What is the question that's up right now? I'm trying to remember.
Oh yeah, it's
Oh, the spread.
this one.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it seems like everybody had a very heated reaction to that, and now we're maybe good and we've moved on. So we'll move on to another question. That was a great question. Thank you, Michael.
Until, as Rich says, after part 4.
What was that one?
A while back, Rich said this will be interesting to talk about after part 4. So maybe this will be another question we can pick up again next time.
That's exciting. Okay. And it looks like we have a quote from Rich.
So, question about that, the cultivation. Odium made some sort of comment that made me think that cultivation is what people on Roshar refer to as the old magic. Was I the only one who thought that? Am I totally off?
I'm not sure.
I don't remember enough about what said when to answer that.
Exactly.
Okay, we'll table that for next time. Okay, to the next chapter says cultivation equals Night Watcher. Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
I believe you.
Yes. Same.
Let's do theories and predictions. Ramsey was here. Is Ramsey still here?
I am. Oh, man.
What?
This stream is killing me more than I ever thought it would with not being able to talk and say things.
Even worse than the early ones when like
Yep. It's even worse than sometimes the end of other books because there's so many like grand predictions for bigger things going on. And it's really tough.
It's crazy. Like now we're only 600 pages away from where you are, which like 4 months ago was unfathomable.
I'm telling you, Oathbringer is the book where you're like, okay, I think I've got things figured out. I know where we're going. I know what's happening. And then there's a big moment at the beginning of the Sanderlanche where something drops. And you're like, oh, I wonder what that means. And then the rest of the book is like a crazy Sanderlanche where everything you understand is expanded and everything you thought you understood is flipped on its head. And you're like, oh, I don't understand anything anymore.
Oh, man.
I'm
So in other
looking
words,
forward
you're
to
saying
that.
read the next 600 pages this weekend and totally forego Christie's schedule.
Oh, no.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding, I promise.
You know what? Whatever people want to do is fine. These are just the discussion videos. As long as you don't spoil people, you can read whenever you want.
Nope, there's only 2 left. I've only read ahead once.
I loved this too. Did somebody else mention that? I'm so excited to learn about Spren politics. I'm very, very excited about
Something
that.
we never thought we'd hear, like in the first part of Way of Kings, spread politics.
Right? Yeah, the little wind Spren and stuff, right. Like they're gonna have politics. It's so great.
Jade said Michael's little speech has gotten me so hyped. Yes, same.
As long as this book it has such good things in it. There's just so much book.
There's oh man.
I knew that after we started the Way of Kings and it was kind of slow in the beginning that this section would happen where it's like there's interesting stuff happening here. You're already locked in, you love the characters. But dang, some stuff here is slow. And I do think that the rereaders are getting a lot more out of it than the first-time readers. Because you're like, oh, crap, there's all this stuff I didn't really catch. I read the book this year, and there's already so many things where I'm like, frick, I got to, like, read up on some of this stuff. Because it happened, especially, like, the once the Sanderlanche starts, so many things are happening so fast. You're like, oh dang, I need to reread this already. But yeah, when there's a lot of and Dalinar going around and trying to gather the support of the different things. I think that's necessary. I don't think he should have just like I'm glad Sanderson didn't just kind of write that off in passing.
Sure.
Because sometimes he's willing to do that. But it really slows the story down. Even though those interactions are interesting and I really like all of them as an individual thing, sometimes it's just like, oh, and like we get to spend more time with Bridge 4. I want to spend more time with Bridge 4. I love those chapters.
Absolutely.
But it kills the main storyline progress.
Yeah.
So,
and not to be a dead horse, but that's why I think this one will be so much easier to adapt than the other two, at least from the first 600 pages, because you don't have many like, key moments. Like you've got like Dalinar's conversation with Odium. That's key. And maybe I'm speaking a little bit too soon, not knowing the end of Oathbringer, but so much can be consolidated in in an adaptation version. Like you can't have all that back and forth. You would drive an audience to sleep on the screen.
Something that slowed it down for me while reading Oathbringer is I feel like Sanderson is really into the mechanics of how things work. And he does that in Mistborn too. And I remember in those parts, I also got bogged down a little bit. And especially with whenever we're talking about Fabrials and exactly how oath gates work and just the nitty gritty of those things, I always I zone out a little bit and it's really terrible to do. And I also think anytime Dalinar is dealing with like the politics of the world, it's interesting, but it also makes it feel slow as well. And Dalinar has a lot of politics. Like that's a big part of his perspective. And so I think that's what's made this particular section of Oathbringer a little bit not sloggy, but just a little bit more belabored to get through for me personally. But we're getting so much information, and I love that. Sometimes I just wish we went through the mechanics a little faster.
Yeah, well, I feel like, Victoria, on that note, that like Sanderson's almost spoiled us as readers of his works a lot because you do have Mistborn and Words of Radiance, books that are so fast-paced, especially from a magic action perspective, that when you do have Oathbringer, it's very almost jarring for a Cosmere book. Like, if it was from a different series, it wouldn't seem as weird, but because we come to expect something of Sanderson and we get something slightly different, it causes us to almost like stop for a second and wonder what's going on, whereas in another series that wouldn't be the case.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think I'm just spoiled with how well Sanderson writes action, and I'm like, I want more action, but we can't always have action.
Radiance.
I could just say read and find out, but I'm almost positive that the final battle of this book is a 3-hour audiobook chapter. Like it's one chapter.
Dang. I'm glad to hear there's a battle.
Yeah.
I mean, that was kind of to be expected, but still.
Yeah, that's interesting. It's
okay.
Kind of expected.
Okay, I'm not trying to defend it because I agree with everything you guys just said, but I think that what we're going to find out is when we get to the last. I think we're going to get some crazy stuff that happens in this next chunk of 25%. But then the last 25%, like it's almost like we get a full new set of teasing and setup and then payoff. Whereas like there's all kinds of different levels of like, I'm thinking of I'm really bad at music, but like the musical phrase where it's like you have it starts and then it goes to the middle and then it goes to the end. All of the plot lines are doing that constantly throughout the story. And with Dalinar, when he's doing his politics stuff, which I love, and I love the politics, but it kills the pacing, it's actually kind of still a payoff of the things that we got to see when we had to read the phrase unite them like 20 times in The Way of Kings. We're finally seeing this payoff.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We're also setting up new things that we don't realize we're setting up. We're also, because this book is so freaking long, we've got like a whole other 2 books worth of pages to set up and pay off new things while nailing the other things. It's such a weird thing to critique because the book is just unreasonably and incomparably long. When it's easier, I think, to address in parts. Like if this is a 5-part book, which I think it is, it's almost easier to address it that way, with parts 4 and 2 being a little bit more world buildy, we'll say, to be friendly.
That's right. Well, on that note, Rita Reborn a few minutes ago put up a really good comment. This is like the middle book of a 5-book series. So, I mean, if you look at, the first half of Stormlight, and I mean, that makes sense. The middle of stories or the parts of stories that typically, if they're not saying this isn't written well, but, they can sag a little bit. And it just takes a little bit longer for things to develop because you have the inciting incidents at the beginning and then you have the great payoffs later on. But the middle really has to kind of build upon that foundation that the first, third had. So it's just really having that mindset switch of, okay, this isn't a trilogy like we're used to in fantasy, where book 3 we're winding things up. We're smack in the middle, especially coming after Words of Radiance. That seemed like it could have been a conclusion in and of itself.
Mm-hmm.
In some ways, I think this is maybe the downside to reading them all so close together. Because I think that in some ways, because they're so big, it's almost something, and we're reading them in 2-month chunks, so this is like still the best way you could do this, but like it's something that's meant to be kind of slowly absorbed over time. And then I think that 3-year gap between books is sometimes helpful for you to build up your tolerance for the world building sections.
Yeah,
That's true. That's true.
That's interesting because reading it my second time through, I'm loving the politics. I loved all the time with Queen Fen. I'm loving all of that. I still feel the drag though, even though I find it interesting. So it's interesting. It's an interesting drag.
Yeah, and on the note of the 3-year gap, I think it was Ramsey who mentioned it to me at a different time from Rajathan, that I think he said for him, Oathbringer didn't really seem as like poorly paced because he had the 3-year gap he waited between Words of Radiance and Oathbringer. So for someone who's waited that long, I can definitely see how it wouldn't seem as bad.
You just want to be back in it, and you're
Yeah.
kind of cool being back in it, even if it's world building.
Yeah. Very true.
Yes, exactly. I love it, even though it's a bit slow. Okay, let's do another question. Actually, do we have any more theories or predictions? Because I know this is like the favorite part of, so that's why I mentioned Ramsey earlier. He's like a Cosmere veteran with like videos on shards and stuff on his channel. And I know he and Michael both really enjoy hearing these theories and predictions. So if you have any more.
I think this is just a hard section to have other people do predictions. So we just have to listen to Ryan and Victoria. And first-time readers in the chat too.
Yeah.
Because it's
Victoria,
so
you go
close.
first.
I have maybe a mild one. It's not.
Okay.
I mean, it's not a big one. Maybe it is. I'm not sure, but we had a little allusion to the Unmade so far, right? So we've seen a little glimpse of one of the Unmade that Shallan fights. And then she makes a comment about how the Unmade seems to be searching for something and how it seems to be trying to understand her. And she briefly wonders if maybe it's human or it was human, this strange entity. So I don't know. Maybe I'm thinking the Unmade are maybe like a group of humans, maybe that, I don't know, were fighting against the heralds or something, and maybe they were like cursed, and now they're these like weird creatures.
Ooh.
I don't know.
That would be really interesting.
I didn't feel like Sanderson put that sentence in there and then just would never come back to it. So
yeah, oh, absolutely.
The Unmade are maybe like were human at one point. I don't know.
Yeah, or I mean, maybe this is going too far into it, but what if they're even like the dead Spren?
Like Spren that die?
Yeah, like the Spren that died after the Recreants, if I'm pronouncing that right.
Okay.
I don't know. That's way out there. So.
Well, mine's probably out there too.
Well, I mean, your thought triggered that, so that was the first place I went. But that's super interesting, Victoria. Not looking at Michael and Christy.
Yeah.
Rich.
Cool.
I don't think my predictions have changed. I still think that, well, first off, I'm super frustrated that Adeline was not in this section hardly at all. Hence my tagline of the chat today, of my profile today. Other than the fact that like right in the last chapter, he's flying and about to throw up. Like that's Adeline. But all that to say, I think that Adeline killing Sadius, I still think that Dalinar is going to somehow take the fall for that. And that we will see at the end of the book Tarvangian accede to some sort of massive position, and then Dalinar is kind of like in the depths of despair, getting him ready for a glorious return in Rhythm of War.
You know what's so funny? I almost forgot about the whole Sadius plot line and Adeline.
Right?
And brought that up. I totally forgot that we were even still dealing with that.
Yeah. We didn't talk about it at all. Like Sanderson didn't talk about it at all, and I don't think in this section.
It just disappeared for a little bit.
Yeah. Poor Adeline.
He'll be back.
Yeah. That's my only prediction at this point.
Yeah, I don't got anything else either. But I'm terrible at predictions, so.
I saw a Cosmere. This is unrelated, so if you guys have another prediction, it's not like you guys were done. I saw a Cosmere meme today where somebody was like, there are people that are going to die before Sanderson finishes the Cosmere. I was like, oh no, that's terrible. That's terrible. Unless there's a special protection on people that read the Cosmere, where no one that reads the Cosmere now will die until the Cosmere is finished.
Oh, that's great.
That's a fan fiction.
The one we got to be worried about is Sanderson.
I personally am most worried about Sanderson.
Thanks for hanging out, Angela.
Yeah,
You're
thanks,
probably
Angela.
already gone. Thanks for coming.
Well, apparently Sanderson told the ending of the series to Christopher Paolini, so he can finish it.
Oh, really?
What?
He did?
Jealous.
Are you trolling me right now?
No, I'm dead serious. Right? It was over the summer. Sanderson and Paolini did a live stream together, and I caught most of it. And at one point, Sanderson's like, I told you like how it ended, right? Paolini's like, yep, my lips are sealed. I won't say anything.
Oh, I remember. He said that.
I think you killed Michael.
I think we killed Michael. Yeah.
Oh my word. Don't say those negative things into the universe.
It might be listening.
Oh my goodness.
I think Michael's dead.
Heartbreak. I would expect that the final scene of all 10 books, we wouldn't even know who's talking or what's going on. So
he
probably
right.
doesn't know much.
It's probably like the general, like, this is how the world ends type of thing.
Yeah, that's true. It's like an epilogue or something.
Oh man.
I'll hold my Paolini reservations out of the stream.
If he knows the secrets that nobody else knows, he's the only one who can do it.
Christy,
how does that make you feel?
Christy,
Michael?
I need you to not.
Or how about this? What if he told it to Mary Robinette Kowal?
Oh no. She probably would try and adapt it.
Oh no, Megan. That's awful to consider, but you're probably right. Kramer and Redding aren't going to survive until the end of this series.
Wait, who? Oh, these
the audiobook readers?
Yes.
Oh.
Oh no.
Frick.
Are they
I mean, they're probably like 50.
Okay, I know Sanderson likes his 3-year gaps, but he just has to scrap that thing. Scrap that nonsense. We don't care about Skyward.
Okay, listen, I like Skyward a lot. I do. But you can put it off a little bit.
Yeah.
He put off Mistborn Era 2 for a very long time.
Very long time.
Skyward for a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, change the subject. Thank you, Peter. I started this. I'm very sorry. My bad.
I'm depressed. This is depressing. Blah blah blah. I wouldn't mind if Jan Wells finished it.
Okay,
I'm
Christy,
done.
you're the writer of this group. You need to become a famous writer very quickly and learn that ending.
Aw, that's really nice. I don't think I could ever write these, but I appreciate the sentiment. Whenever I write, it turns out pretty small. I'm an underwriter, which does not mesh with the Stormlight Archives at
That
all.
is kind of the opposite. I'm sure you would do great though. That's honestly, Chris, that's probably what the story needs though.
Somebody probably has a tag where it's like, what if you have an author rewrite a book series that already exists? Like, it would be weird to
Ooh.
imagine the Stormlight Archive written by different authors.
Oh, who wants to do that video?
Oh boy, that'll be a lot.
That's a fun idea.
You could do a
my
whole
gosh.
video series. Like, what if? Oh man, I'm gonna make some people mad. What if Lord of the Rings was written by Stephanie Meyer?
Oh, lots of focus on oh shucks, I'm blanking.
Sorry, Chris. Yeah, totally took us in the wrong direction.
The
Oh
elf
my
man
goodness.
pairing.
Legolas would be such an Edward, dude.
Oh.
That's a fan fiction I would get behind. Is like a fake Stephanie Meyer impersonation of Lord of the Rings.
Oh man.
Would Legolas be a sparkly elf?
Okay, yeah, Dostoevsky, Chrissy, Victoria, you guys read Crime and Punishment. Who's your writing Crime and Punishment?
That's amazing. Oh my gosh.
Hey, if Sanderson did Dostoevsky, you'd still have all the moral, questions.
Group project.
Ivor, I was just gonna say Jack could handle the rewrite. He could do it. He just pumps it out, man. One of our writing partners he's working on his 3rd book in this year.
Wow.
Which is like, what? How even?
Yeah. 3 books in a year. Are you sure that's not like Sanderson fronting as like a writing partner under a different name?
It's probably just outlining it all and having somebody else write it. But not Mary Robinette Cowell, because we'd be able to tell. I'd be able to tell.
Yes.
50 Shades of Gandalf the
Oh,
Grey.
no.
Oh, no.
I'm pretty sure that Victoria and Ryan have already stated that they're queasy about old love. So
Dalinar and Navani, I just don't like that. It's them.
I don't think I
Which
mind
I
as much as
don't.
Victoria does.
Okay, just me then.
oh my word.
Notes from the Undermountain. Zapped by Edgar Allan Poe.
Oh, that'd be freaking awesome.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my
Yes,
gosh.
please do that. Please do that. Someone needs to.
Or if everything by Shadesmar was Lovecrafty, that'd be so cool.
Yeah.
Liz!
Okay.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I would say there's enough booktubers in this chat. Like, and if you're not a booktuber, make a channel right now and start doing these videos.
Oh my gosh. That would be a really fun video to do.
Yeah.
This is what I was trying to think of, and for some reason I could not remember Aragorn and Arwen. Like, I don't know why, but I couldn't. So, thank you. That's what I meant.
Yeah.
Aragorn was my favorite character in fantasy until I read The Way of Kings, and now I don't know.
Who is it now? Or I mean, who's the Way of Kings vote?
I mean, it would either be Kaladin or Dalinar.
Yeah.
Oh, briefly, sorry. Ryan is so funny.
Oh, thanks, Graf. Everyone, make Graf start a booktube channel. He needs one.
Do it.
Do it.
Heck yeah.
We're always we would be happy to welcome you here. Anybody who wants
But no
to.
pressure.
Yeah, I should say if you have a booktube channel, let us know in the chat. We'd like to check it out.
Yeah, we know some of you guys, but not all of you. We want to check them out.
Yeah. Okay, now this is interesting.
Yay!
What?
Sorry, Dry said she's going to make a booktube channel.
Yay, do it.
Really?
Do it.
Woohoo!
Awesome.
Yep, let us know as soon as you have, and we'll give you a shout out here.
Yes, please.
Rich.
Okay, Rich, you need a book to
Oh man, Rich.
Yes.
Please, please, please.
It sounds like a good
Oh. Someone needs to screenshot that and like save it forever.
That's kind of like a bookstagram.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man, I think it's so weird that it's called Tube anyway. YouTube.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
kind of. Like, why is the TV called the Tube?
Well, I mean, it used to
it.
it used to be an actual Tube TV,
Yeah.
but that's not a thing. Hey, Casey.
Hey, Casey.
Hey, Casey.
I haven't watched your video yet about Oathbringer, but once it's done, I want to know why you hated it.
I've been itching to watch it too, but I'm
for
finish.
for a video where she said that she hated it, she said a lot of positive things that she also liked about it.
I'm looking forward to watching it.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. I was all excited about it, and I haven't watched it because I haven't watched BookTube in like 2 days. I'm sorry. I've been preparing for this, like trying to get all of Oathbringer read.
Well,
That's
how
a lot to
long
read.
is 25% of Oathbringer via audiobook?
Oh man.
How long? I don't know.
How long is the audiobook? Isn't it 55 hours?
I don't know. Wave Kings is 45, so that makes mathematical sense, I think.
It's like 13, 14 hours almost for just a quarter of this book.
That's like a normal book, which we all know. But yeah, 55 hours, Megan said.
Yeah, I don't know. So yeah, 55 hours divided by 4 is 13.75 hours, which is so much shorter than any book I'm reading, but when you add 4 of them together, it's so much longer than any book I'm reading.
Yeah.
Casey, are you going to read Rhythm of War? Are you going to keep going? I'm curious.
Oh, she definitely is.
Okay.
I'll buy her a copy if she doesn't read it.
We will make her.
Yep.
Whoa, Rich said John Shard is like 72% of the first Harry Potter book.
What? Wow.
Sanderson did joke about that recently. I think it may have been on his Instagram or something like that. How he basically said, like, me being me, I couldn't make it short.
Yeah. Well, he said it was going to be a novella, and now it's longer than NaNoWriMo's month. So, like 57K is what he said.
Wow.
Spoilers.
Like Narnia books are like 40 to 50,000 words.
Look at this. Did you guys already address that? That's insane.
That's insane. Well, sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say that my sister-in-law just got The Way of Kings from her library, but she only has 21 days to read it, and she's not sure it's going to be possible for her.
Yeah. Well, this is way back in June, so correct me if I'm wrong, Graph, but I think it was you who mentioned that you read all 3 books in like a week. Was that you? Did I get that right or wrong? I feel like someone said that, and I thought it was you.
I'm sorry, you're talking to me?
No, I was mentioning a Graph in the chat.
Oh, okay, good. Okay.
Yeah, I thought
Sorry.
it was him who said that he read all 3 books in like 7 or 8 days.
If there's
But I
one
might be
thing
wrong.
that I don't like about doing the live streams is half the time my attention is distracted from you guys when you're saying such interesting things.
You have a lot going on. You're running this whole thing.
I always have to rewatch it so I can hear, like, Ryan's stuff is so in depth that if I just hear it on the surface, I miss like most of what you say.
Sorry, it takes me a long time to say just like very simple things.
No, they're not simple. That's the thing. It's fascinating stuff. Okay. Relaine. Somebody mentioned Relaine. Trying to remember. So Relaine is the guy who was referred to as Shen for like the whole first book, I think.
Yeah.
He was a bridgeman. He was referred to as a Parshendi at the time, but now we know that he was specifically a listener. And I think he's fascinating. He was my favorite of the bridgemen. Victoria also did another question about who was your favorite bridgeman's perspective in this book because we're getting a lot of those perspectives, and I loved Relaine. I loved them all. I thought they were all great, but Relaine was my favorite.
Yeah.
Do
Sorry,
we
can I
all?
interrupt real quick, Chrissy?
What?
Can I interrupt real quick?
Yeah.
Graf did say he read the first 3 books in 12 days the first time and 8 days the second time. That is the most impressive thing I've ever heard.
Yeah, I
That's
couldn't.
insane. How even?
I don't know.
That
I'm
is-
literally speechless at this point.
How do we all feel about Teft for this section?
Oh, my heart.
That's freaking rough. That's rough,
Yeah.
man.
I'm
was-
sorry, I just read Crime and Punishment, and that was such a crazy portrayal of struggling with drink. It wasn't drugs, it was drink, but my heart, yeah. So tough section was tough, but I just read that part in Crime and Punishment, and it was just so good that, yeah, I just cared more about Relaine.
I mean, I read the struggle with alcoholism in The Shining, and I thought Teft's was more sad.
It was sad. Well, because Teft is aware that he is an addict, but he can't stop,
Yeah.
And that part of it was just really hard because it's so real, and
Mhm.
it tore my heart out.
Yeah. Well, we
Teft.
love Teft because Teft is who really encouraged Kaladin in Way of Kings, and like without Teft, like we don't know if we would have had the Kaladin that we have now. So just seeing that mentor figure fail, and just go through a really hard time, it just like you said, Victoria, is so heart wrenching. But he'll pull through it. He'll be okay.
He has Bridge
Maybe.
4 to help.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was really sweet when Bridge 4 comes and they like pull him out and they're like, "Hey, we're gonna take care of you." And I was like, "Yes."
Yeah.
Work group.
Bridge 4 is the best.
Pretty sure
Yeah.
Fire Mouse is just heroin, right?
Something like that.
I'd have to ask Kev for the direct translation there.
Except it is weird because they just kind of rub it on their fingers.
Uh-huh.
Like, yeah,
Yeah.
burns into your body.
I like
Oh, I
Rock.
know. That was sad.
Yeah.
He has such a low threshold of faith in himself. It's just sad.
Mm-hmm.
Did anyone love Rock seeing his family again?
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That was so great.
Warms my heart.
Yeah. Man. I feel like I care more about the Bridge 4 people dying than like any of the other main characters. Like I would be devastated if Dalinar died, but like if Rock died, I think it would be worse.
Ugh.
Oh. Don't speak such things.
Or Lopin.
Huh?
Yeah.
Or Lopin. That's what I want.
Know.
When
He's a
Stormlight
weird-
Archive is made into a movie and then Disney Plus buys the rights and does all these spin-offs, I want a Lopin 6-part miniseries.
I'd be down for that.
He'll just be
That would work.
to the wall all the time.
yeah. Like when he gets stuck to the ground. Like, I'm just trying to get to know the ground really well and let the ground know that I'll be back when I'm flying in the skies.
Yeah.
I loved that Relaine was like, even for a human, that one's weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Lopin.
The
That would be the
Lopin,
name
yeah.
of the show.
Oops. That one.
Yeah, Jade said Hopper regrowing his legs and Scar breathing in Stormlight. Those are both great.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely.
The Janko Vox comment is also interesting. The comparison of Moash to Teft. The one above that.
I don't see it. Hang on. Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
Yep. 100%.
Yeah, I think Moash is like a lot younger than Teft, though.
I think that's the case.
Yeah.
I have sympathy for both of them with their own struggles.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't seem to like the ground. He really likes to fly.
Lopin's too great.
Yes,
If Lopin
he
was
is.
like the main character in book 6 or 7, I wouldn't be upset.
If that romance book existed in real life, I would give it the Twilight treatment. So hard.
I loved that scene so much. I remembered it from when I read it the first time. Oh my gosh. So funny.
Awesome.
Of all the things that you didn't remember in our personal chats, you remember that thing.
I remembered that one. I mean, when I started reading it, I knew exactly what was happening.
Oh my goodness.
I remember the interludes, I think, better than the general plot line. I don't know.
I really liked Kaz's interlude as well. That was a really fascinating one with her turning to smoke as she's using.
Yeah, you have to wonder how that's going to play into the story as a whole. Like,
Yeah.
that's there for a reason. But what's the reason?
Yeah, it was just a really interesting interlude.
Thank you, Peter.
Rich for the quote win.
So good. Yes, see, that sounds like a good book. I've never read a book where the King's Wit character was like the romantic interest.
Yeah.
I want to see it.
Yeah, Wit hasn't like the Wit character in Hoyd. You know, he hasn't shown up in this book at all, has he?
I don't think so. Not that I remember.
Yeah, he's what's missing in Oathbringer.
I'm sure
yeah.
we haven't seen Wit in a while. Yeah, I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure.
not since
He
not since the
definitely
epilogue of-
livens things up.
Yeah, livens things is a good way to put it.
Is that a romance with like the King's Fool? Like, now I have to Google that. Thank you.
Oh, to the next chapter said, Hoyd did tell Yasna about the recreants, though, and I'm dying to know. Yes, yes. Way to go, Sanderson. Teasing us again. A character who knows something.
Well, yeah, did you like how Stormfather also teased it? Where he's like,
yeah,
Dalinar, I got bad news for you. And he's like, tell me. He's like, I'm sorry. I cannot tell you.
Yeah. Because, like, in the first book, it's like everyone was clueless. But now you have characters like, I'm just not going to tell you. And that's, like, worse. What is Hoyd up to? Yeah.
Is that the stuff that weirds Victoria out?
Yeah. I can't with it. No, I don't like the safe hand with the romance, and it's just so cheesy.
Casey has a great one. Stormfather is the ultimate troll.
Yes.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
He's like, I know something you don't know.
Yes.
Yeah, in like so many ways. In the way of Kings, the whole time he's like, I'm gonna show you these visions. You won't get it though.
Yeah.
Also, I could have been showing them to multiple people this entire time, but I just didn't tell you so.
I saved these for you. You should be happy.
Yes. Yeah. Aren't you honored?
I was very puzzled on how is Dalinar bringing people into his visions. I think I missed that. Like, how is he able to do that?
The Stormfather is able to like link them up, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
When the Stormfather is in their city,
they have a point-to-point connection in their dream.
Wasn't that that one part where like Dalinar picks up? I don't know if it was a sword or a shard blade, and Stormfather starts grumbling. He's like, "You said rah rah rah," and Dalinar's like, "Chill out. I'm not doing anything with it."
I vaguely remember that, Ryan, but I can't remember the exact.
Yeah, I can't either. For being somewhat humorous.
The Zoom Father.
Yes.
The Spren of 2020, the Zoom Father.
Oh, Reader Reborn has a great one below, Christy. Stormfather is the NPC guide. That one, yeah.
I do not understand some of those words.
Yeah.
It's probably too much to explain.
I thought about it, but I was like, yeah, I don't want to take over that.
No, don't worry. It's good. I'll just get him to explain it to me later. Message me.
The Stormfather is like me teasing the Sanderlanche to everybody else.
That
Oh
Yeah.
no.
might be the truest thing said on this chat.
I do try to be a troll though. I don't know if the Stormfather tries. It comes to him naturally.
He just is.
The Stormfather doesn't even have the kindness when he's given Dalinar the visions in the Way of Kings to be like, yo, by the way, these are videos. You can't interact with them.
Yeah.
Like Dalinar's all like talking to the freaking projector screen, and the Stormfather doesn't stop him. He's just like, "No, you school."
But Michael, at least Stormfather hasn't started doing dad puns to Dalinar yet.
Nope.
Pretty much.
I feel like once like 10:10 to 10:30 hits is when we all start getting a little bit slap happy. At least those of us who are more towards the East Coast.
Oh no.
Oh my gosh. Yes. Lol, 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 lol.
Yeah, maybe someday for Nano, we should just have a group like this create the ultimate ridiculous fan fiction for a Nano
Sign me
novel.
up. I'm done. Down.
Yes. That sounds awesome.
Yeah.
We just have
Do
to
one of
figure
those
out
things
the
where it's
framework.
like each
we
person
gotta
like,
end the
writes like
stream.
a chapter and then passes it to the next person who writes the next chapter.
Rita Reborn has committed a cardinal sin. I think we should end the stream.
Ooh.
Oh.
Fun. Yeah. All right. Speaking of ending the stream, poor Ryan probably should get to bed pretty soon here.
Probably pretty soon, but this is very fun.
Yes, it is. Okay, do you think we have time for one more question, or should we like kind of end it? We only have like a couple more minutes till the 1:30. So, what do you guys think? Should we end
Either way,
it?
whatever works for you guys. You're the boss.
That's what punning will get you. I thought it was funny, for the record. Okay, we'll do one more quick question. This isn't really a good quick question, but okay, just real quick. If you could bring anyone with you into a vision of the past, where would you go? Who would you bring, and why? You have 30 seconds to go. I'm just kidding.
Oh man, not it.
Not it.
Thank you for hanging out, Casey.
Yeah,
We appreciate it.
especially all of you East Coasters. I feel your tiredness.
Yes.
I would bring, if I could have a vision of the past, I would want to bring Ryan and Victoria back to the beginning of these live streams and make them have to sit through and poker face their original predictions. Both the ones that they say that are completely off base and the ones where they basically just say the ending of the book in the first freaking live stream and they have to not react and say nothing. Because it's so hard.
That's fair.
That's torture. But yeah, you guys are I don't know how you guys have done it.
Yeah. Yeah. No, you guys have like the best faces ever.
Casey.
Yeah, thanks to all you
Yes.
East Coasters who stay up late for this insanity.
Yes, thank you.
Mhm.
You're so fun to hang out with. We appreciate it.
And I think in some live streams we've had people from Europe a few times, haven't we?
I think so.
Which is amazing because it's
Yeah.
really late there.
Yeah.
It's like the middle of the night.
Yeah. I want to say someone was once watching from
Nope,
Japan or something. I
nope,
don't
get
know.
it out. No, we're done.
Oh.
I thought it was going to be cell phones, but what is cell? Am I missing something?
It's the things from Elantris that they used to talk to each other.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, thanks. It's off the screen. We're good. Oh, dude, Hawaii, 4:30 in the afternoon.
Whoa.
Whoa.
Oh,
Hawaii.
that's crazy.
Yeah.
Are you supposed to be working? I'm just kidding.
Hey, Michael.
Oh, it's still Elantris planet. Yeah. Are you gonna say something bad? The look on your face is
Yeah.
scaring me. Frick.
Oh, wait till some other time. I'll
Yeah,
save it
okay.
for next live stream.
That is-
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because AO. No, I don't remember the things. Is it Aeons? Is that what they're called? Aeons?
Aeon? Aeon.
Yeah.
Aeons.
Well, I don't remember the name because there's the things and then there's the letters, and I don't remember which is which.
Aren't the Aeons are the things? Okay, well, it's Elantris. I don't want to talk about Elantris.
some of us, and some of us are
Definitely aren't we?
hanging out with us.
Nice.
Wow, we got lots of corrections on the planet thing.
Seons. That's what they're called. Seons.
Oh.
Because the Aeons are the letters.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Seons.
Okay, guys. We should probably let you go after
Thank
that.
you, friends. Thank you,
quick
Christy.
question.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. So, yeah, thank you, Chris, for putting up with our tangents.
I
This-
love it. It's great.
Off the wall today.
What was that, Victoria?
I said this live stream was particularly, I feel like, off the wall a little bit, but that's okay.
Yeah.
We talked about Elantris and that world as much as Roshar.
Yeah. Well, we're all getting to know each other more and more, so we're just being more ridiculous.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's true.
Well, we're here to hang out anyway, so.
Reader Reborn
Mistborn
said,
Casey.
"Storm along after hours."
Casey, read Mistborn after Stormlight.
Yes,
Ooh,
I think you'll like
yes.
that, Casey.
Read Mistborn. Thank you, Graf.
Yes, thank you.
Alrighty, we're gonna head out, but thank you so much for coming, everybody. And if you want to hang out with Victoria and Jade and I, come on over to Victoria's channel on November 1st at 3 p.m. PST. Is that right? Pacific time. And so that's 6 p.m. Eastern time. And I'm sure we'll be making videos in between. So head on over to our channels and subscribe. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll
And start
see
your
you.
own channels.
Yeah,
Yes, and start your own channels.
more people, more booktube people.
Yes, then we can chat with you even more and see your
Mhm.
opinions.
Indeed.
Bye, everybody.
Good night, all.